The Split Protective Case is priced around 25 bucks on Amazon, and honestly, for the price, this is a really interesting grip. The texture on these grips feels really nice. They're not too plasticky, they're not too rubbery, just enough grip while still feeling durable. And inside the Joy-Con shells, there's this soft rubberized texture that helps with scratches and shock absorption, which is a nice little touch. Which brings me to the biggest reason I actually respect this product a lot. This thing saved my Switch 2 twice. The first time, my Switch fell about 5 feet onto a metal chair and landed directly onto the left Joy-Con. And honestly, without this grip, the Joy-Con would have been absolutely destroyed. Then a second time, one of the Joy-Cons detached while I was carrying it around and it smacked the floor from about 2.5 feet. But it still survived. So while I have some issues with this grip that we're gonna get into, I gotta give JSAUX credit here. These Joy-Con grips legitimately did their job. And the included travel cover is legitimately really nice. It stays on nice, it's really solid, and the game cartridge slots in here are snug. Nothing falls out. And unlike some of the other cases I've tested that have a top cover like the JDD Win or the DJNR PPQ, this doesn't feel like I am trying to fight this thing every time I take it off. I also really love that the cartridge slots fit tightly enough where I don't feel like my games are gonna randomly fall out in my backpack. And yes, I know this thing holds like 10 games, but please, do not go around carrying 10 Switch games. I completely understand why one of my friends literally removed this backplate from his grip, and he's just using the Joy-Con 2 grips by themselves, because those are honestly great. But the backplate here needed adhesives, magnets, something, because right now it mostly feels like a cosmetic scratch cover. And honestly, that's what frustrates me the most, because if this backplate was just slightly more refined, this thing would be one of the easiest recommendations in the entire Switch 2 grip market. Now somehow the docking experience is even more frustrating. Yes, this technically does dock, but holy hell is it annoying. I cannot tell you how many times over the past few months I've put this into the dock, thought it connected, and then nothing happened on the TV. And honestly, I very rarely ever get a seamless dock the first try. Most of the time I have to adjust it, reseat it, wiggle it slightly, and pray. And getting it out of the dock, that is not fun either. Usually have to hold the dock down while pulling the Switch 2 out because it's such a tight fit, which honestly probably explains some of these heat issues because this thing got hot while docked. Now is your Switch 2 going to explode? No. But personally, I probably would not recommend using the full backplate setup during the super long dock sessions, especially if you're playing something pretty intensive, like Indiana Jones and the Great Circle on the Switch 2. Because every time I docked this thing for a while, that fan would absolutely kick up. And honestly, I think a lot of people are gonna end up doing exactly what my friend did, removing the backplate and just use the Joy-Con grips. Because once you do that, most of the docking frustration disappears entirely. And honestly, that's probably how I'd recommend using this thing too.